Hi, thanks for joining me in another episode of Why Not Go. As always, I appreciate everyone subscribing and commenting on the videos. Well, this is another London video, and I'm doing the intro here back in my tiki room. And I loved our trip to London. It's I hadn't been there since 1997, and when I moved back to LA, but I still think London is one of the most beautiful and exciting cities. You know, things change, but I still really love it. So in this video, I start out showing where we stayed. I just did it because sometimes when I watch videos, I'm kind of curious, like, oh, I wonder where they stayed and how much they paid. So I put that in the beginning of the video. And in this video, we go to we visit the homes of 3 different rock and roll artists who lived in Chelsea at one point in their lives, and which I think is interesting. Chelsea is such a great area. I guess it's no surprise. And the first person's home we visit is John Lydon. John Lydon lived right on the border between Chelsea and Fulham, starting in 1978. That's where he started PIL. So that was one of the first places I wanted to visit. I've never been there. I know some people go to London on vacation. They probably want to see, I don't know, go shopping at Harrods or something. And but that was one of the first places I wanted to see because I'd never been there. And then very close by is where the Rolling Stones started, on Edith Grove. John Lydon's place is on Gunter Grove. And this is where they first lived. Mick Jagger, Keith Richards, and Brian Jones, starting in 1962. And then I also visit a couple other places where they lived after that, once they had quite a bit of money rolling in. And then lastly, I go to the home of David Bowie. I've always wanted to see this place as well. He lived there from 1973 to about 1976 on Oakley Street in Chelsea. And that was a real thrill for me to visit to that residence as well. So this is my video of three of the most amazing rock and roll artists, I think, in history. People that changed music, I think, in just amazing ways, changed the course of music. And they all lived in Chelsea at one point in their lives. So I hope you enjoy the video. I hope you enjoy watching it as much as I did going to these places. So thanks again. All right, this is where we're staying in London. We're staying at the Chelsea Cloisters, and that's on Sloane Avenue. And the reason why I'm filming this is because I think it's a pretty good value for your money. We're staying in a little studio, and well, they call it the executive studio, but I think it's a good value because the cost is 170 pounds a night, which is $170 a night, and that's including everything. So that's 140 pounds a night, and that's including taxes and everything, which I think is pretty good. The reason why we picked this place, again, it's called the Chelsea Cloisters, if anyone wants to check it out. The reason why we picked it is because you get this. Because you know, when you're traveling, sometimes you don't always want to eat every meal out. You might want to have your breakfast in. So we have this little kitchenette. Sorry, it's a little messy because we've been here for a bit. You can see we make salad there. But you know, sometimes you don't want every meal out. So you can, you know, I kind of like it sometimes just to have breakfast in and then maybe start my day. Or sometimes, you know, you're really tired and you might just want to grab something at Waitrose. You can see we're shopping at Waitrose, which is nearby. And there's a Sainsbury's, which is just a few yards away. It's a small Sainsbury's, but it's really great. So, you know, we don't eat all our meals in, but anyway, I think it's a good deal for 140 pounds a night, $170, because you get a washer dryer there, and fridge, and cooktop, and microwave, and you know, a little sink, of course. So anyway, I just want to show the room because I think I'll probably stay here again whenever I come back. And the TV is there, and then you have a little place to eat and closet. I think you can get 1 bedrooms here, but it's been converted into kind of a hotel or short stays. And the bathroom's decent. Got, you know, your typical bathroom, but you have a nice tub shower. So yeah, we're happy. You know, sometimes you book a place and you never know if the pictures are gonna be it was gonna be the same as in the pictures. But anyway, I'm real happy. So I just wanted to share this. Chelsea Cloisters. This is what you get for $170 a night. All right, so not far from 102 Edith Grove in Chelsea, off the King's Road, is 45 Gunter Grove. And most people probably know this, but John Lydon lived here for a while. I think he got the flat in 1977. It could have been 78, I don't know. But basically this was his first flat, and he stayed here for a while. And at one point Jim Walker and Keith Levine of PIL moved in with him, and he had the top floor of 45 Gunter Grove. And so I think he had, if you look up there, you see kind of a fence around there. I think he might have had a roof deck. So he was up there on the top where you see the white, the 2 windows there with the kind of white shades on the lower half. And it looks like the flat underneath it is gutted on the middle floor there. And if anybody, and also if you watch there's a really good biography movie on polystyrene that we saw not that long ago, and it was kind of a sad story. Polystyrene, she really loved John Lydon, and she used to just kind of hang out in the front. And I don't know if this was before she had X-ray specs. I think it was kind of during X-ray specs. Anyway, at one point she was invited in, and Sid and Nancy, there's also famous pictures of Sid and Nancy in the flat. And then at one point, I guess Lydon didn't like her, or Sid didn't like her, and they locked her in a cupboard, some kind of cupboard or closet. They locked her in a closet or cupboard for a while during the party, and that upset her. And I feel sorry for her. She had a crush on Lydon. I guess it wasn't reciprocated. So that's too bad. I mean, that's his choice, obviously, but she sounds like she was besotted, as you say in England, with Lydon. So that's cool. So he lived here either middle of 77 or 78, all the way until he went to New York in the early 80s. He lived right here, and then from there he went to New York for a while, and then obviously to LA. And then I was going to say one more thing. Oh, and he still lives in the area. He doesn't live here, but apparently he lives in Fulham, or he doesn't live there full time, but he has a flat or a house in Fulham, which is not too far away. So it's kind of interesting because
Are you going to stalk him?
He's still in the area. Oh, Joe wants to know if I'm going to stalk him. Oh God. Maybe if I knew the address. I don't know. Actually, one of the viewers of this channel saw him just a couple weeks ago, or a few weeks ago, coming out of a grocery store. Because he's here on the speaking tour, so he is probably occupying his flat or house in Fulham at some point. So anyway, so I always wanted to see this. I've never seen it. So this was Lydon's first flat, and this is where he hung out with PIL, early PIL, and this is where he hung out with Sid and Nancy as well. I'm sure lots of reggae and good music was played up there. It's kind of a busy street. Gunter Grove, and yeah, you can see this is where he would have been walking around in the late 70s, early 80s before he went to America, and that's just King's Road right down there. So he didn't move far from. He was right around the corner from the shop. His flat, 45 Gunter Grove. All right, so this is the back of Lydon's flat. So I think he did have some kind of roof deck up there, where you see that railing, and where you see that. I don't think that white add-on was part of his flat because he was the top floor, but I think that half window, that window that you see open above the white part, and the two windows in the back, I think those were his windows there. Looks like it was a pretty big flat. But I love the fact if he had that. I think I've seen pictures where he's on the roof up there. That's so great. I love that. I love the fact that I've seen this, because I've seen so many pictures of him inside that flat. It doesn't look like he decorated it very it looked like it was very sparse. I just remember any photos I saw of it, there was always a lot of beer cans everywhere. All right, so when he lived here, he was right around the corner from Malcolm and Vivian's shop. And I don't know, maybe Malcolm got him that flat. I don't know, but I just know that that's where he lived before he moved to America. That's neat. All right, so here's a few photos of 45 Gunter Grove. The first one here is in 1978. You see Sid and Nancy there on the couch and Lydon on the left. And here Lydon is sitting with them, and polystyrene is there on the right, just by the stairwell. And here's another photo with Sid and Nancy and Lydon. And I think that's so sad, that story of them locking polystyrene in the closet. Here's Lydon on his roof deck. You see lots of beer cans in the back. You can see the busy road. It was busy back then. This is Jaw Wobble. I think that's Jim Walker, PIL's first drummer, in the middle. And Jim Walker and Keith Levine used to live in this flat for a while. There's Lydon on the roof. I love these old pictures of 45 Gunter Grove. He's always got a beer can. There's another picture of him on the roof. And that would be looking over to King's Road from that vantage point. King's Road would be there on the left. And here's PIL on the roof of 45 Gunter Grove. That's a nice picture of them. That's great. Another picture of them on the roof. Color picture of the band. That's a nice photo. Jaw Wobble is still playing, by the way. And this is a kind of a rare photo of Nancy Spungen and Lydon sitting together there, probably on that same couch in his flat. Here he is up on that roof deck. It looks like he really loved that roof deck. It must have been nice, though, to have a nice roof deck like that in Chelsea there. And that looks like Jim Walker, his drummer, who lived with him for a while. And of course Lydon. You can see Gunter Grove there, the street, the busy street there down there. And another photo here of polystyrene. Looks like she's kind of trying to cozy up to Lydon there. It's so sad, that story of them locking her in a closet. It was either Sid or Johnny that did that. That's what it said in her documentary anyway. And that's them there. Looks like they're probably watching TV, my guess is. And this is Sid here in the same flat, and that's Jeanette Lee, who became a filmmaker with Don Letts, and she's also on one of PIL's album covers. And there's Johnny there on the same couch. I love these old photos. These are all at Gunter Grove, where we were filming outside. And that's him on the roof. Looks like he's poking out from under a skylight. I think he really enjoyed living there. It looks like he had a lot of fun. Another photo of him with Sid and Nancy. I think these Sid and Nancy photos were all taken in June of 1978. And that's Ari up there, goofing around, Ari up of the Slits, and Nora's daughter, of course, goofing around with Jaw Wobble and Lydon. And that's the last shot there of Lydon on the roof deck. And then the upcoming photos, these are photos of how the roof deck looks today. Very different. Apparently the flat was listed, or it was listed, I saw on the internet in 2023. His former flat, which is 3 stories, including the roof deck, so 2 stories of living space, and the roof deck was listed in 2023 for £1.55 million, so just a little over £1.5 million pounds. And so that's what the roof deck looks like today. Very different, very modern and upscale. Very different from when he lived there. And then I've got a couple more photos of when it was listed in 2023, the flat. That's the bedroom. I believe it was 3 bedrooms on the upper level. And this is one of the bedrooms, again, when it was listed in 2023. What's interesting is that when we looked at the flat from the outside, it looked like the living room area was being gutted. So whoever bought the place when it was listed in 2023, looks like they're doing a lot of remodeling, even though it's obviously very, very updated. I don't know. I kind of prefer the way it used to look. It looked more normal. So this is the living room, believe it or not, where all those photos of Sid and Nancy that I just showed you, and Lydon and polystyrene. This is the same living room in 2023. Isn't that amazing? You see the staircase over there. It's kind of confusing because they've got a mirror there in the background. But this is the same living room, and apparently they have some kind of plaque near the fireplace, historical plaque saying this used to be John Lydon's flat. But this is the same living room as those previous photos that I showed you there with Lydon. Very different, and I don't know why it looks like they're renovating it now, but it definitely looks like from the outside that they're renovating this living room. But very different from the 70s. I don't know, maybe I'm strange, but I kind of prefer the way it used to look. But this is the way it looks now, or in 2023. And then I'll just show the photo here, and that's probably the kitchen there in the back. And this is the same, the 2 living rooms juxtaposed together, 2023 on the left and 1978 on the right. You can see polystyrene is sitting there on the stairs. Those stairs would have gone up to the bedroom, the bedrooms upstairs, and then I'm assuming he had another staircase that went up to the roof deck. So yeah, this is the way it looks, the way it looked a year ago, and the way the living room looked in 1978 when Lydon lived there. So just wanted to show those together. All right, so we're going to be off to our next stop, which is 102 Edith Grove, and that's where the Rolling Stones lived, and where they started their career. All right, I'm right around the corner from the World's End, and this is just a little side trip. Now I'm at 102 Edith Grove, And this is important because this is where the Rolling Stones first had a flat. They all lived here together with Brian Jones and Keith Richards and Mick Jagger. Mick Jagger called it a squat. He said it was terrible. So they had a flat here, 102 102 Edith Grove. I think they got the flat in 1962, and they took their very first publicity photo right outside this flat. I think it was taken from across the street. So it's 102, and you can see there's B, C, D, E, probably quite a few flats here. So isn't that neat? So this is where the Rolling Stones first got together and lived. I think they all lived here, or maybe it was just Mick and Keith and Brian Jones, but I just remember reading that Mick Jagger said it was disgusting. So somewhere in this building here, 3 stories and then a basement flat, they had a flat and started to make some music. So much musical history in Chelsea. So that's it from the other side of the street. And I think the publicity shot that they took was right in the road here. And 102 is the door on the left of the 2 doors. So they had a flat. It looks like it might be 4 stories. That's cool. 102 Edith Grove. That's historical. We're on busy Shane Walk right now, which is a busy street. I love the views of the bridge here. I can't remember which bridge that is. I don't think it's Battersea Bridge, but I love the houseboats here. So anyway, I'm here because this is 98 Shane Walk, that big yellow house there, building, and that's where Mick Jagger used to live. He could still own it, I don't know. I'm not a Mick Jagger expert, but where you see those eagles there, that's where the cars would have come in. So this is just right around the corner from Edith Grove, where they started. And he had a different address on Shane Walk in '67, so I think he bought this later in the '70s. But this is where Mick Jagger used to live, this big house there. What a nice view he had of the Thames. It's so great. All right, I'm right around the corner from Oakley Street, where Bowie lived from 1973 to 1976. And now I'm at 48 Shane Walk, and I'll just step back, but that's the front. So charming. And this is a nice quiet street, because some of Shane Walk is really busy because it's right on the river, but this house, oh, what a sweet house. I actually like this better than the other house he lived in, which he probably purchased later because it looked really huge. But anyway, Mick Jagger purchased this in 1967, and I guess there's a famous picture of him and Marianne Faithfull coming out the front door. So I don't know how long he owned it, but he bought it in 1967. So he lived at 2 different addresses on Shane Walk. This house, 48 Shane Walk, and the other one was at 98. So this is definitely a step up from that flat on Edith Grove. Look at that, what a beautiful, this is just gorgeous. It's probably not even, I mean, maybe it's really huge, but it looks, I don't know, it just looks great. I love it. And then you've got a pub here right on the corner. Love that. So Mick Jagger here on Shane Walk. Love it. All right, another Rolling Stones stop. We're at 3 Shane Walk, and this looks like a 6-story place if you count the basement. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's a big house, and they have a nice little garden in the front. And so this was Keith Richards' house. I don't know for how long, but he lived here with Anita Pallenberg, and he bought this in 1967. So that's nice. So he and Anita Pallenberg lived here starting in 1967. And so just down the road where we just were, down that way, was 48 Shane Walk, where Mick Jagger lived with Marianne Faithfull. And he bought that home, that really nice white one, in 1968. And then he bought that big yellow one later, 3 Shane Walk. So the Stones were all over Shane Walk. And you can see why. They've got, I mean, it's so beautiful here. You're in Chelsea. There's this nice garden here that kind of buffers you from the traffic on the embankment. And that's another bridge going across the Thames. Oh yeah. But I mean, I love Chelsea in general. Oh, there isn't a bridge there. I thought there was. All right. So yeah, that was his house. Keith Richards, starting in 1967. So this is a big improvement from the 102 Edith Grove, where they started. Look at that. That is a big house. They sold lots of records. And that blue plaque right next door is George Eliot, the novelist, died there. I mean, there's so much history in Chelsea, not just rock and roll, obviously. Oscar Wilde, George Eliot. I mean, you name it. I mean, this is such an artistic part of London. So beautiful. All right, so that's gonna wrap up my Rolling Stones sites there on where they lived, where they started, and where they lived when some money came in. There was a big change from 63 to 67 in their bank accounts, that's for sure. So thank you. Thanks for, hope you enjoyed this little tour. All right, so now we're on Oakley Street, 89 Oakley, in front of that black door. That's 89 Oakley. And just pan around so we can see where we are. This way is Kings Road, where the Chelsea Fire Station is. And that way is the Elber Bridge. So I always wanted to see this. And yeah, I always wanted to see this house. Bowie owned this house, this 4-story house. Probably had the basement flat too. And I'm just gonna go all the way up there. Yeah, 4 stories. He owned this house from 1973 to 76. So, I mean, so all the Ziggy Stardust money came in, and he might have moved here directly from Beckenham, where he lived before, with Angie and their son. And I always wanted to see this. So he didn't own it long, 3 years, because in 1976 he was mainly based in America, and then after that he went back to Europe and bought a house in Switzerland. But these were very pivotal years, 1973 to 76. Ziggy Stardust, Lad Insane. Gosh, what else? Oh, I'm gonna go all the way to the top there. That's so neat. And the Young Americans album, Station to Station. But I think by 75, 76, he was already kind of based in America. But anyway, a couple things I wanted to say that kind of tie this home in with the Sex Pistols. In Paul Gorman's book, he writes that Bowie came into the shop, and I don't know what it was called at that time. I think he came into the shop around 1974, and he was looking, Malcolm had some artwork in the back, and he looked at some artwork in the back of Malcolm and Vivian's shop, and apparently he said that, I don't know if he told them at the time, but he said that he wanted to buy it, but he knew he was moving to America soon, and so he didn't. And then he felt bad that he didn't talk to Malcolm at that time when he was in the shop. So he actually arranged to meet Malcolm in the 80s. They met in LA and I think had lunch together. And Bowie sounds quite sweet. He apologized to Malcolm for, I don't know if he was standoffish, but he didn't speak to Malcolm when he came into his shop and he didn't buy anything. So he kind of apologized to Malcolm and they had lunch and talked about art and stuff. So that's neat. I always wanted to see this. And this is the famous house where Angie said she woke up one morning or came in one morning and Bowie and Mick Jagger were in bed together. and her famous line was, people asked her, "What'd you do?" And she said, "I asked them if they wanted to have a coffee." So I guess she served them coffee in bed. I never thought that they had a physical relationship. I just thought, oh, they probably got drunk and slept in the same bed, but who knows? And at that time, if I go down this way, you see where the bridge is. Mick Jagger lived just down there on Shane Walk, so they were like neighbors in the 70s. So yeah, I always wanted to see this house. It's funny, there's no plaque. There was also no plaque for the Rolling Stones on Edith Grove, their first residence. But just down the street here on Oakley Street, there's a plaque for Bob Marley, so that's interesting. Bob Marley has a plaque, but David Bowie does not. I don't know how those things are decided, but anyway, one more look at Oakley Street. So this is where Bowie would have walked around. 1973, 74, before he moved to America. You got Kings Road there, and then just down here, you've got the Albert Bridge, and around the corner where his friend Mick lived. So that's neat. This is like a real thrill for me. I always wanted to see this house. So, and then he was kind of busy, based in LA, based in New York, and then eventually bought his place in Vevey, which I've been to, searching for David. He bought his place in Vevey, Switzerland. I think it was around 1976. David and Angie and Zoe. This was their home. 89 Oakley Street. You want to take a closer look? There's no cars coming. Crossing Oakley Street. This is so exciting for me. I always wanted to know where this was. I wonder if he had the basement too.
It would be on the right side, I think. 88's to the left.
Oh, I got it. Okay. Oh, I see. Yeah, that's right. So he probably owned the basement too. That's so cool. This is rock and roll history. 89 Oakley. This is what the Ziggy Stardust money bought him. 4 floors in Chelsea. I love it.
There's some water.
Yeah. He didn't last here long, but this was a very significant place. I love it.
What period of time was it?
He lived here from 1973 to 76. So that's why he went to Malcolm's shop. And he almost bought some artwork, but he didn't. He said he was moving to the States soon.
We stepped out here and walked.
Yeah.
Right over there.
Yeah, this is where Bowie would have walked in 73. Yeah, and Mick Jagger was around the corner, and they were buddies, obviously. Mick was at his last Ziggy Stardust concert tour, and he was just down the road from, that's Kings Road right there, the fire station. Oh, I love it. This is a thrill for me. I'm just loving this. David.
Why don't you stand on the...
David walked here. I love it. There should be a plaque, but whatever. All right. All right, till the next time. I'll be seeing you. Got my button.